And we're back at the VeriSage Symposium. We are down the home stretch. We're down to 3 more DET talks. Shauna, I want to thank you for being here this whole week. We've had some terrific conversations and really think that your face just lights up. I loved you being in the front here because whenever I was presenting, I don't know if the rest of you recognize, but when you say something, you can actually see it on your face. I'm like, oh, she just got it. And it was like, that's awesome. So you're a great leading indicator. So keep sitting up front.
I normally sit in the back, so. So I will say I'm probably in kindergarten compared to where all you guys are at, but I'm coming up the ranks. But I first of all want to just say thank you to those thought leaders that are out there freely giving their information, specifically Ron Baker. Your YouTube video got me on all this. Kirk Bowman, wherever you are, all your podcasts. It has changed my life. I'll just say, for me personally, I'm going to tear it up. My husband has been able to quit his job, stay home with our kids. We recently bought 12 acres of property for him to be able to do a garden and help our community. So it does change lives. And this is probably why I'm such a campaign for it, because, I mean, Ron Baker has said, you change one person at a time, not one firm at a time. Well, you got 2 for 1. I'm by myself, so, you're changing me and my firm. And so what I wanted to share today, I mean, what can I share to a group of thought leaders? Here I am in kindergarten, 18 months into this process. But I thought for me, as I speak to even my co-CPAs that are at all thinking of doing this, for me, on my personal journey, these are 2 principles that I wanted to kind of throw out that you're not even ready to implement value pricing until you corely, at least for me, live these 2 principles. And so the first one was client selection for me. When I first heard of all of this, one of the first things I did is I looked at all my clientele. I was just solely doing tax returns. How valuable are tax returns? They're not that valuable. So I literally had 150 client returns I was doing, and I shaved off 100 clients right then and there. This was June, July, called a friend of mine by November, shaved off all those clients that first tax season. And now, even as of today, client selection is really key. It is really key. And you've got to be able to dive in enough, deep enough, to be brave enough to cut, prune and cut. And so I don't think anyone's ready for this value movement, if you want to call it that, until you stick your head out and are risky enough. And I'll just say practically, financially, what that did for me, and this doesn't make sense at all, 100 clients gone, doubled my revenue, literally doubled my revenue with less clients. How is that possible? Because I value priced all those current clients, went back to them, raised my prices, in many cases tripled my prices with them, and they stayed on board. And so it's true, it works, even though it's a little fear inside of you to do it. It does work, and that for me was, a win-win ultimately. But I wasn't ready for that until I changed my mind ultimately there. The second principle for me was a refund guarantee. And for me, I learned best with practical examples. And, I'm sure everybody has their own story. And I'll just share my story of a unsuccessful successful engagement. And this was actually my first value proposition to one of my clients, because I heard Ron, I had that Ron Baker headache they refer to in his foreword of his book. And I had a client right on my doorsteps, literally, and I had to value price them. I mean, I was up late at night. I was listening to all these podcasts. I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I laid out this value price proposition for them. And I'll just tell numbers just so it shares the effect of why this was so core to me. It was a $40,000 proposition to a client. And they needed that highest price. I mean, their comment back to me was, this is refundable if it doesn't work. And my comment right back was, yes, I will refund your money if this project doesn't work as planned. And in through the project, even a few occasions, the client would say, "You're going to retire really early in your life." I mean, so they knew the price was up high for what the project entailed. And so the project went through. I was about 3-4 months in. It was supposed to be a 4-month project, and I knew the project wasn't going as successful as planned due to software. It was a software implementation, and they had chose the wrong software ultimately. And I found a better software for them, but they weren't ready to go through that journey again of this pain we walked through where it wasn't successful. I tried to call them, make an appointment to close the engagement, and I had told them, "I need to refund you some money." This was not what the outcome was supposed to be. Couldn't get a hold of them, made an appointment, called them, they didn't answer their phone. I was like, "I need to close this engagement, and I need to know what the price is you want me to refund." They never talked to me. And I was like, well, this is not enjoyable. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, this is me being an accountant, look through all the days that I went out there, calculate by the hour how much it should have been. I shouldn't be giving them a refund, right? In my calculation, because I had spent so much time on the project. And my husband, him being the logical one, was like, "You didn't lose any money," because I was thinking in my mind, I'm going to lose money on this project because the time calculation came out, I was going to lose money. And he's like, "You never tell your client you're losing money. They lost the outcome you had promised them." I was like, "You're right." And I came to the grips. I refunded them half the money they had paid me. There was about 3 areas of the project, and 2 of the project did get completed, but that third component was the most valuable component, and it was worth half, in my opinion, half the price. Wrote a check, mailed it back to them, and put my money where my mouth was. I then just heard back from them 3 weeks ago. Trust was a factor in all that scenario. Hurricane happened in Florida, and they're desperate to change. So I probably will get the engagement back again to get them through the conversion of a project. But for me, if you're not ready to do a refund guarantee, you're not ready for value pricing, in my opinion. So that is what I want to share.
Great job.